Hi there, and welcome to the Peters Podcast, where we talk about everything and nothing all at the same time. Today, we're talking about men's rights, specifically the men's rights movement. Um, there has been some controversy on the topic of men's rights, and honestly, looking at this, there's just so many ways to break this down. So men's rights are essentially like see if I can find a definition for this, because the men's rights movement is a branch of men's movement. The MRM is particularly consists of a variety of groups, individuals, men's rights movements, who focus on general social issues. And that's coming from Wikipedia. So there has been statistics saying that men are less likely to have custody of their kids after a divorce, are more likely to commit suicide due to depression because they don't really have anybody to talk to. And I also want to talk about the opposite effect, of which there is toxic masculinity. And I'm just going to pull that up right now. But let's get to the forefront. The topics are adoption. Men are less likely to become adopted fathers. There are anti-dowries. Excuse me while I don't know what a fucking dowry is. Dowry, married women who are murdered by driven to suicide. Yeah, so dowry is like a widow. If a man says that he's a widow, then it's his fault. He should have done something or something like that. But if a man takes his own life and leaves a woman, then poor woman, so sad. But reverse, it's not. It's his fault. Should have done something. Child custody. Women are more likely to take the child and then file for child support, just mainly because men do make more money, and that's because we take on extreme jobs. This goes along with saying that the pay gap doesn't exist, only because yes, women go into high-class businesses, but men take on jobs that are more dangerous, so danger pay is involved. You see a lot of women wanting to go for positions of power, whereas men want to go for... Best way to put this is something that Jordan Peterson said, which is you don't see a lot of women becoming bricklayers, but bricklayers make like $25+ an hour, depending on if the starting wage, depending on which country you're in, the country of origin. Circumcision. This is literally the topics that come up on Wikipedia. Don't blame me. Men are more likely to get circumcised. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm 100% okay with that. Although, I do believe that it is the man's right to choose, but at the same time, I thank my parents for making the choice for me. So much easier to clean. But at the same time, I hear that it's more sensitive with the hoodie on, so. In a divorce, women are more likely to get settlements or alimony. Um, so that's that's a thing. Um, so yeah, kind of goes with that song. She take your kid, she take your house, she take your dog, she take your truck. Um, but not to say that this is um, all one-sided. Like there are the occasions where um, it's reversed, but it's just more rare. It doesn't happen as often, and you don't hear about it as often. Domestic violence, um, when a woman says that she's been beaten, she's a hero, and that is 100% true. But except for the ones that are false, the false allegations have been uh, rampant, if anything, because of the Me Too movement. But if you're actually being abused, please uh, connect with someone. I'm very adamant on that. But if a man were to do the same, he's a pussy, he's this, he's that, and it's just, this is why we don't do it. This is why us men don't call for any help when we're being abused. Is because we get called names and we just don't want to, and it sucks and it's terrible. Education. Uh, Females usually go for like um, the quote unquote more educated jobs, or those trades do take years to learn. Like I'm going for barbering, but at the same time I want to learn hairdressing because I want to know the trades. I want to know the whole trade, not just like half of it and just call it a day. Um, so I've had stigmas of being told, get a real job, or find a real career, and sometimes it's jokes, but at the same time it's still hurtful. But a perfect example is just like I don't care. I'd much rather work my office job where I can work yearly round than having to work, you know, outside for like a quarter of the year, 3/4 of the year, depending, and then have to stay home for like 3 months or 2 months. Yeah, 3 months. Um, there's a stigma of privilege, apparently. Well, that kind of goes along the same way as this, like, if a woman says, oh, this guy's like looking at me while I'm at the gym, and then it's just like, oh yeah, fuck that guy. Um, but if a man says like, I'm not really comfortable with, um, having someone look at me that way, then it's like, what, man, fucking grow up. I've actually had that happen where I was taken for lunch by a boss, and everything was going well. We were talking about work. It was just strictly work, and I'm I'm not going to name names. It's not a recent job. It is a past job because I left. And she, afterwards, she was just like, "Hey, you want to go to my place?" I'm like, not not in particular, but I mean, yeah, I guess we can go. And right as soon as we get there, she's just like, "Hey, uh, by the way, I consider this a date, and I really think you're attractive and whatnot." And I was just like, "I no, I'd like to go home now." Like, it's not that she wasn't attractive. It's just that I considered her a friend. So every time I tell that story, a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, was she hot?" It's just like that's not the point. I don't I don't feel that she's, you know, at all like that way. Um, so, um, governmental structures. Um, I've just noticed a lot of. I've noticed that a lot of structures that had to do with men being men are getting taken down, and I think that is absolutely horrendous. Um, Leave history alone, because it's what built countries. It's what built societies, and without them, we're you know we're not really much. Like, yeah, like the country I live in, Canada, we have some pretty horrendous past stories, but at the same time, it's made us who we are. So why fuck with it? So, men's health. Um, I've seen this multiple times. Physical health. If a woman comes in, "Oh, I got a bruise," they go through like a whole fucking list of like, "Oh, like, was it someone you know? Was it this? Was it that? How can I help you?" And they're fully willing to, arrow in on the female. Um, but men, it's just like, I got stitches from an accident at work, and it was just on my finger, and I didn't want to go because I knew I was gonna hear this as that, "Oh, just take some fucking T3s and let's get you stitched up." And while they were stitching me, I was wincing because I don't like needles, and the nurse there was just like, "Oh, stop being a baby." It's just like, fuck you. I know if it was a woman, they'd be like, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay." Horrendous. Um, Homelessness. Men make up more than half of the homeless population. Along with health, actually, homelessness kind of goes with it. Is it even says here most homeless people are male. And it kind of goes along with mental health. If a woman is having a mental health problem, they are willing to sit there and dissect every little thing. Now, when it came to mental health, I went through doctors and doctors and doctors. Just mainly because they were just like, "Oh, nothing's wrong." It's just like, no, something's there. Um, and so I finally got into seeing a really, really good doctor. Um, and he treated me like I was actually a human. And I'm not one to nitpick, but I'm so thankful for him, because if it wasn't for him, um, I don't know what I would do. Um, like there's so many underlying issues that someone may have, and I've just seen so many people who have drug problems or psychological problems, and it's it really affects a person after a while. I used to be homeless actually, and then I caught myself back up on my feet, and I did what I needed to do, and I didn't whine or bitch about it. I just, oh, like I'm good to go, doc. Like, um, getting getting myself getting myself to a point of, okay, life's not that bad. Um, you know, I just had to stop using drugs to um, cope with things. And I'm still guilty of doing this, of suffering in silence. Like, I'll never tell anybody really what's wrong. I use discreet words like, oh, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm well. I'm alright. Um, but really, there's like so many underlying things going on. Like, I could have financial issues. I could have, I don't know, problem with the ex. I could have problem at the job. Someone came in and said something to me that I, was really close to home, or like, there's so many things that I don't think a lot of people quite realize that they could be doing. And so, yeah, homelessness and drug issues and all that are a huge problem. Huge, 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 huge. Incarceration. Yes. Not only do most of the incarcerations happen between men, but because let's face facts. Let's face the honest and God-bearing facts. The When it comes to the world's population, it is not 50-50. It's 50.2, 50.3. I'm a smoker, by the way, if anybody even gave a shit. I am trying to quit, but Jesus. So this goes by. I don't like how that did that. So going by what is this? Countrymeters.info. Yeah, countrymeters.info /en/world. The current population is 8 million. 8 billion. 8 fucking billion people on this earth. And we can't act right. So the current male population um, is 4 billion, and the women's population is 3.9 billion. So, and I'm not gonna go into the details of like, oh, it's 4 billion, some million, blah blah blah, 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 blah. No. So I will say that I was right in a way. So um, 4 billion men. So that's 50.5% and 49.5% female. So yeah, it's not completely equal. Like there are more males than there are females, and let's be honest, is that when they say a lot more males are incarcerated, it's because a lot more males are brought into the judicial system to be convicted. It's not saying that women don't get convicted and women don't get incarcerated. It's just that more men do. I've seen both sides of the coin. I've actually had a few friends that I don't hang out with anymore because of this reason. They lived a life that is so gangster, but let's be honest, it's not cool. Men are more likely to go to the military, paternity fraud. I've had this happen, and we're still battling it. Is that a lot of people are saying like one kid, like this kid, that like me and my ex, like we were together and now we're not, and she's like, oh, this kid's not yours. But then she turns around and says to everybody else, oh yeah, it's his. And that's detrimental. And there are stories of like women fraudulating pregnancy tests by, taking a Sharpie to a pregnancy test, and it happens to men more because the woman has to be very, very stupid. They would have to be incredibly stupid of being like, oh, I didn't take that test, but all of a sudden, so she would have to be very very dumb. And this one's going to be a little bit triggering, but like rape. There's been false accusations of rape. I can't say that I've had someone falsely accuse me, but I've been sexually assaulted myself, and it's and nobody really believes a damn word you say, and I would really like to move on with just saying that like the Me Too movement can suck my dick. You want to be a feminist, fine. I hope you find equality within the world, but don't come at me with your fucking Me Too bullshit. Reproductive rights. Woman wants a woman wants a woman wants an abortion. A man has no fucking say. If a man really wants a child and that woman's just like, no, it's my body, my choice. And this is why I hate fucking some forms of feminism, is because they take what they want, and if they don't want it, they just throw it away like it's nothing. And it's not to say that it's like It's not to say that women shouldn't have the right to do that. It's just like it's just more um, men just don't have the right to say anything, and really they should. They should, fight a little bit, or at least have a fighting chance. Social Security and insurance. Um, Men are more likely to commit suicide, which is the next one. So, you know, it, if they take a really risky job, it's um, they don't have much. Like your insurance go way up, and it sucks. um, yeah, and then it just gets into men's rights activists. Um, and then there's some that are like the fathers movement and men's rights in India, which I didn't know they needed. Hmm. I'll have to look up more about India. And then there's a book. I think this is a book. War on Boys. Yeah. But there is downsides to it, like toxic masculinity. I, the whole reason why I was actually drawn to this is because one of my friends um, actually steered me towards this group called Men Go Their Own Way. And Wikipedia says that it is an anti-feminist, misogynist, mostly online community advocating for men to separate themselves from women. So, kind of like a segregation, except for genders. And how he describes it, um, and how this thing's describing it is two different things. This one says you have to be a heterosexual white and middle class man from North America and Europe. Well, I'm not middle class, so looks like I'm out. um, but essentially, it it doesn't it doesn't sound like I don't know. It sounds like where did I just see it? Like I was scrolling and men in MGTOW community use jargon shared by border manosphere. The red pill and blue pill metaphor borrowed from the Matrix. Those in the manosphere. I fucking use the red pill and blue pill talking about fucking fuck politics as a joke because it pisses some of my friends off and I love it. Even though I don't particularly care. I have tons of friends who are on the left and I'm on the right. I'm just like, blue pill. Rip, dominated by feminist values said to be red pilled or taking the red pills. Those who have not accepted the ideology referred to as a blue pill. Other jargon includes, okay, so that's backwards. Other jargon, projective, let's just call it slur terms, for other men as beta, cuck, soy boy, white knight. Okay, so, I'm sorry, but I had a conversation with my ex and her new boyfriend. And I did use the word talking. Because he just sounded like a complete enabling person who's just like, yeah, I'll give you anything you want. And it's just like, all right, well, buddy, you kind of sound like a cuck, just so you know. I don't recommend checking out what cucks are, because that's descriptive. But no, I try to keep composure, and I slipped a little bit, and we just kind of went our very merry way. And it's just kind of one of those things where, like, I just haven't heard from them, and I don't want to. Toxic masculinity, and that's kind of where I'm in. So, like, I don't know enough about that group to really say which way it goes. But, like, if Wikipedia is right, then it's toxic. If Wikipedia is wrong, and it has been before, but I'm still using it as a search engine because I know that if I'm wrong by using this, then I'm not wrong. It's the search engine. But I shouldn't be putting false information. But again, I do try to make sure that people know that I'd say, I am using Wikipedia, so take it as you will. If you have any information, comment. Other than that, like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Toxic masculinity refers to certain male behavior that is associated with harm to society and men themselves. Traditional stereotypes of men as a social dominant, along with related traits of misogyny and homophobia. Right. So, see, I grew up in the era where, and I'm so guilty for this still now, that every once in a while I'll just let out, like, oh, you did that? Oh, that's gay. Like, just not serious about it anymore. I know it's a little insensitive, but whatever. But, like, people like, I go to the gym and people are like, oh, that's such toxic masculinity. It's like, fuck off. Let people do what they want to do. But at the same time, there are some people who are like, oh yeah, like, women, bippity boppity, women are property, and they're serious about it. But if they're joking about it, then let them joke. I know tons of people on YouTube who make those jokes. I make those jokes. But I'm never serious. I'm usually like a courteous person. I'm usually like a gentleman. And yes, men do have a role, but men can decide their own role. It shouldn't be placed onto a certain person about how this particular matter should be dealt with. I have talked about this on my channel before, and I just fucking remembered. Let me see if I can find it. Bippity boppity. Women are. But yeah, like, it should be more towards the. It should go more towards the person trying to show themselves that they aren't being toxic. I'm not saying that all masculinity is welcomed. Actually, sometimes it's not. I've had a few people, like with the whole job situation. Oh, you should get a real job. You shouldn't cut hair. Cutting hair is for women. Well, sorry I don't live up to your fucking standards. Sorry I don't live up to your level of masculinity. I am masculine, just not your masculine. My masculine. I fucking I take care of myself, so the way I can feel better about myself. And yes, sometimes it gets women. Sometimes it gets, you know, the wrong type of women. But sometimes it gets the good, the women that actually deserve my attention. Um, and that kind of goes along with toxic femininity. Some women are just like, oh, I should be catered for. I should be this and that and the next thing. It's just like, no, you shouldn't. You should live your life and stop fucking badgering people. Yeah, 2 years ago, and I got a whole whopping 3 views. Let's see if I can top that. It's called "How Masculinity Should Be." Yes, I did touch on it, and you know what? The 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 only difference is that I'm actually looking it up this time. Is um, it's not how you go about things. It's 100% about how you go about things. Actually, it's not. Oh, I should be driving a big truck, and I should be driving. Oh, beard struggle stuff. I want some. I should be driving a big truck. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I should be fucking this, that, and the next thing. And it all comes down to like, fine, if that's what you want to do, but like you don't need to. Like I would buy a truck, but that's only because I'm big. I'm a bigger guy. I'm 6'2", 230 pounds. I do strongman for a hobby, for fun, in the heavyweight class. So like, I'm not exactly small. Like it's difficult to get in and out of my sister's car, and she rides a BMW lowrider. So getting in and out of that, um, it's difficult as fuck. Needless to say. Um, you know what? Let's yeah, male privilege can fucking eat me. How's that? Because I went down to the bottom. Machismo, manly, self-reliant. Um, you know what? I think that's okay. I guess. Open a new tab. Open a new tab. Let's talk about these things. Let's talk about. That's not what I fucking clicked on. Internalized sexism. Oh, there's a whole page dedicated to toxic masculinity, but toxic femininity or Manliness have to be joined together in a single topic. And see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, no. 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 What is machismo? Machismo. Sure, why not? I don't even know how to fucking masculism. Masculism. So I'll get back to the toxic femininity. Machismo is the sense of being manly or self-reliant, a concept associated with a strong sense of masculine pride. Exaggerated masculinity. If you're proud to be a man, if you're proud to be white, if you're proud to be black, if you're proud to be brown, if you're proud that the toe next to your big toe is longer than your big toe, And that's on you. That's awesome. Be proud of who you are. But don't, like, why are you making it sound like a bad thing? I don't, I don't quite, like, I do, yeah, I do it. Okay? Like, I'm not gonna hypocrite myself and, sit here and say that it's, always good. Like, sometimes I get egotistical and sometimes I get a little cocky, but overall, like, I know my worth. Um, there seems to be a bodybuilding is apparently a part of this, and yeah. Um, so toxic femininity is Brenda R. Weber used the term uses the term toxic femininity as for a code of conformity and social pressure to rigid female feminine gender roles. All right. Um, um, I have, I have, I have nothing. I have nothing. I have nothing to say. Um, I've, I've, I'm, I'm actually, I'm just typing in the next episode. I'm baffled. That's how much I just don't give a shit. I'm just typing in the next one. Because I'm done. I'm done with this topic. Um, not to the point, like, not in, I'm, I'm done because that's horrendous and ridiculous. Um, um, I'm disgusted with the world now. And on that note, um, I thank you for coming and joining everything and nothing all at the same time. Um, I don't know. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.